Hi folks, it's Silver Dave, and in this video, I want to talk about what the gold price means for the silver price. We're going to get into it. There's a bunch of metrics. I can't wait to tell you this stuff. I love this kind of stuff. Thanks folks. Stay tuned. We're going to get into it. All right. Hi folks, it's Silver Dave at local Silver Mint in Ware, New Hampshire, where we have an incredible selection of awesome silver and gold from all around the world, and we love to make videos. And in these videos, we cover, obviously, precious metals, worldly events, and other related content pertinent to silver, gold, markets, etc. In this video, we want to cover how the gold price affects the silver price. And so these things are related, and there is an influence. However, I'm not going to say that the silver price is in direct correlation all the time to gold. In fact, I would suggest that there's a delayed reaction with the silver price from the metrics that would often affect the gold price. And so, before I explain more about what I think the gold price now means for the silver price later, I first want to talk a little about the trackability of silver versus gold. And I should add, if you hear different noises in the background, you hear buckets of coins sloshing and filling, if you hear keys and other things, that is the guys in the background. They're packaging and packing silver bits and or silver coins and rounds. And so if it sounds like buckets of silver sloshing, that is actually what it is. So try to enjoy it, folks. All right, so first off, gold, silver. Right now, and I know I've covered a bunch of this before, but that paper gold, paper silver. Right now, the commodities futures traders are selling approximately 130 ounces of gold on paper for every 1 ounce of gold produced. Simultaneously, they are selling almost 400 ounces of silver on paper for every ounce of silver produced. And because of that is one of the top reasons why I think the silver price is incorrect, or at least artificially low. And so because of that, people will say, well, Dave, why are those ratios so different? And I would say that not only does that impact the market prices of the things, but the reason why I think there's such a significant amount of difference in the paper silver versus paper gold, because you got a 130 to 1 versus almost a 400 to 1. Well, first, gold, unlike silver, is mostly recycled. And when there is a $3 piece of gold in a smartphone, someone does the work to extract it and reclaim the gold, while simultaneously, if there is a 8-cent piece of silver in the phone, it just gets tossed in the landfill. A lot of people in India or wherever do not do the work to get it out as much as they do with the gold. And most of the gold that has existed above the surface of the earth for the past 100 years is mostly the same gold that has existed above the surface of the earth for the past 100 years, because it's recycled and reused. Whereas silver is consumed every year by industry. Most of the silver that is mined each year, oh, guy just bought some silver, congratulations, that's what that bell was. And so most of the silver that's mined every year is consumed into industry. And so because of that, it is much more difficult to track how much silver there is at any given moment compared to gold. And so because of that, that's why, to me, the silver price is much more volatile than the gold price, because the amount of gold is not fluctuating as much as the amount of silver. And when the silver price When silver shortages occur, it can cause a big spike in the silver price. Now, there's another metric that I want to go over here, and very few people know this, and that is that silver is not typically mined by itself. And in fact, most of the silver production and silver mining is as a byproduct of gold or copper mining. And you may have heard the term silver lining. Well, the silver lining refers to gold and copper miners who are mining gold or copper, and as a side effect, as a fringe benefit, they also get a small percentage of silver. And that silver is almost like the pure profit for them, and it can be referred to as the silver lining. And so, that being said, because of here's really important here, is that because of this, if there is a shortage of gold or copper, it is possible that miners can go to work in greater quantities of guys can go in to produce and increase the production of gold or copper. They can even turn on low yield mines that would otherwise not be profitable, but if the prices go up enough, that those low yield mines go into the profitability zone relative to what the yield percentage and the cost of mining there is. And so in turn, it is possible to increase the production of gold or copper. With silver, it is not as easy to do that because most of the silver is coming as a byproduct of the copper and the gold mining. So they can't just crank harder on silver mining, meaning that if there's a shortage of silver, it's a lot harder to correct that. And that can cause the price to be more volatile. Now, when I mentioned before the trackability of the gold and the paper gold and silver numbers, well, the reason I think that the paper to silver number is such a higher ratio is because the futures contract guys can get away with it easier because it's harder for anyone to come and say, oh, you don't have that much silver, versus the gold is more trackable. So they can't go as crazy selling paper gold as they can selling paper silver. It's so that it's easier for them to fluff the numbers on the silver. So that being said, the next thing I want to mention is consumption of silver. Right now, the driving energies behind AI are really pushing hard, and even the United States government, including Donald Trump, even announced that they're going to give $500 billion in conjunction with Larry Ellison and some other tech bigwig guys, and that they are going to pay $500 billion for building liquid-cooled data processing centers in America to process data, which unfortunately I think will be used to spy on Americans and do very horrible things for freedom, liberty, and privacy. But as a result of that, I would anticipate that they are going to need a lot of silver. And right now, the silver supply is diminishing. We are mining, or I should say, they are mining, the miners out there are mining less silver than is being consumed. And so there is becoming less and less available silver. And so with future projections indicating that the consumption of silver is going to go even higher, this leads me to feel that a silver shortage may occur. And that could have an impact on the silver price. So now, finally, what does the gold price mean for the future silver price? Well, we have been seeing the gold price going up and up lately. And we see almost $3,700 gold the past few days. It's almost there to $3,700. And so, historically, I have observed that the gold price is most closely pegged to the dollar inflation and global uncertainty. and that silver acts later. And in fact, even platinum, then silver. Gold, platinum, then silver. In that order, as I've seen these surges, typically that's the order in which the price corrects itself. So the fact that the gold price is really cranking up, that leads me to think that there's a delayed reaction for silver. Also, we are seeing global uncertainty. There are so many things that have happened. Even in this past few days, there have been some major events. There were some murders and some things that I have some suspicion some of these things may have been organized by higher powers. And I don't mean, divine higher powers, but although maybe everything's connected. But there's a lot of things that I think may have been orchestrated in order to seize gun rights from Americans. It's a horrible thing that might be something that these guys may be concocting. But regardless, it's causing more global uncertainty. They just turned the Department of Defense into the War Department. That tells me something. They're going to war. And I think there's a big potential for a massive world war brewing. And those are all things that could cause a gold price to explode. And if the gold price is going higher, when the silver price is so much undervalued relative to gold, and yet gold is going even higher and higher, and we have barely even seen a silver price crank yet. Now we're seeing silver at around $41. However, I think that the silver price needs to go up a lot just to catch up to where the gold price is in terms of a ratio that makes more sense based on historical precedents, which typically is around 1 to 16, 1 to 20. Right now it's almost 1 to 90. And so silver price isn't in the right place relative to gold. And if gold is going to keep going up, that means there's even more added pressure for the silver price to go up. And so with that being said, I do think we're getting ready to see a silver price explosion in the next matter of 12 to 24 months. I think we're going to keep seeing silver and gold going up, but I think there's a time where the silver price is going to have to really catch up a lot more to gold. So when I see $41 silver, I think that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's actually just the beginning. I think silver is going into the triple digits easy, but also when we calculate the inflation that's coming, which I don't know if you downloaded the big beautiful bill. I did. I downloaded it and I've been scanning through and reading it. No human could read the entire thing in a lifetime. It's got 20,000 plus sections, not words, not letters, 20,000. It's more than 20, I think it's actually 21,000 and change sections of legalese. And in that big beautiful bill, they add $5 trillion to the budget. Now they were already $1.3 trillion over budget, and they added $5 trillion to the budget. Note, they take in federal revenue approximately $4.9 trillion, and they're $1.3 trillion over budget, and they just added $5 trillion to that. So there'll be $6.5 trillion over budget. That's freaking huge. That's so big. Just the big, beautiful bill alone, I think, will add approximately 25% inflation into the market in the next 12 months. Just that one thing, the big, beautiful bill. Just the one thing. And so I would predict that the price of eggs, butter, chickens, definitely beef going to get very expensive, I think. And so I think all those things are going to go up in price. Fuel. Now, as the inflation gets more extreme, you see the rising prices. Silver, gold going to have to go up with that also, not just to break past the artificial manipulation, which is going to make it go up, but also to keep up with the just general inflation. And so when I talk about silver going to hundreds or even thousands of dollars, people are like, oh, Dave, that's ridiculous. Thousands of dollars for an ounce of silver? Yeah, actually, I would say it's not ridiculous. I would say it's actually a very reasonable thing that you should expect that the price of silver is going to just go up and up along with gold. They're going to keep going as they inflate the currency. And when will it stop? Well, timeline, it's hard to say, but event-wise, I think that it will stop when they transition to the central bank digital slave currency. And when they transition to the central bank digital slave currency, they're probably going to do it after some sort of a crisis that makes it to where people actually beg for that instead of them having to force it on people and fight against people. Instead, just the same way they ushered in the Federal Reserve System, they get people, they do the same thing with this, they get people to beg for it. The same thing they did before, they do it again. That's my theory. So the inflation, I think, is going to keep going more and more, faster and faster, bigger and bigger, until they make that transition. How long? That's a good question. I feel like we have the next few years to accumulate silver. And when they do install the central bank digital slave currency, which hopefully they fail, hopefully it goes sideways on them and something goes wrong, and the people get their freedom back and take this thing back. But if it does go through, you are especially going to want physical silver that you can trade directly for goods and services, including our product, Silver Bits, which is highly divisible, 1/10 ounce silver, pure 999 silver bits. You can hand it to a guy for a dozen eggs or a basket of vegetables. And I don't even know if I should be promoting this because we're barely able to make enough of them to keep up with the sales of it right now. But still, our Silver Bits, it's very important that you have it. And that way you can still buy stuff, small things. You don't want to use an ounce of gold to buy a dozen eggs. You don't want to even use an ounce of silver to buy a dozen eggs. And so that'd be my caveat to go to this next piece, which is that one of my guys showed me this morning that Mike Rowe, very interesting fellow, dirty jobs. He gets in there, he does stuff and shows people how things are made in America or around the world. And he just did a video stating that the most patriotic coins of America aren't even made in America, and that they're made in Germany because that's where they can make them due to some legal challenges as well as technological challenges. Well, if you know Mike Rowe and you're watching this video, maybe you could tell him about us because we're really interested in doing something with him because we are making what we think is the most actually patriotic coin in America, though technically it's not a coin because it doesn't have a face value in a particular currency, but it is coin-like. It is technically a round. But our product is made in America with machines that are American machines by people that are Americans. And our purpose is to make a product that gives Americans the independence to be able to buy goods and services regardless of the condition of the financial system or internet access. And it will help protect people from this financial calamity that is building. And so our product is I would say, is actually the most patriotic thing because it's here to really help Americans. And we happen to be building a new factory right now. For the rest of this year, we're building our new factory. It's tremendously bigger than what we've been in so far. And so we'd love to have Mike Rowe come and help us make Silver Bits and to show the process. And we're a real American entrepreneurial inventor, Green Beret veteran-owned business that's here to help Americans to solve what I think is the biggest problem in the world. And so, Mike Rowe, love your videos. I think my mom even has a crush on him. Oops, did I say that out loud? A little. I think that she might, like him a little. But also, sorry, Mom. But if I get you a date, huh? Okay, no, but Mike Rowe, that's just a joke. Don't worry. You don't have to date my mom or anything. But we would love to have you come and do a tour of our facility and maybe even get involved. We're melting silver, we're coining, we're blanking, and you don't even have to go to Germany to do it. We do it right here. So anyway, I just wanted to put that little tidbit out there for Micro, and if someone has a connection to them, we'd love to try to organize something like that in 2026. Anyway, so that concludes that. And now, as we culminate this video, the purpose of this video was talking about the gold price affecting the silver price. I do think we're going to see silver price go to triple digits and then quadruple digits. Yes, I do think that is very likely. We might see $5,000 an ounce silver, even $10,000 an ounce silver. But don't get mad at me, because if you're like, Dave, that's crazy, that's too far. Well, it might be so that it might be $500 for a dozen eggs. It might be $250 for a stick of butter, and it might be $8,000 for an ounce of silver. So I'm not saying the silver price just by itself is going to go to those thousands of dollars, but I think that the overall way that this whole thing goes down is Weimar Germany. You had a wheelbarrow, and you wheelbarrow of money to buy a loaf of bread. Well, these guys are almost at that point. They are spending money faster than it could be printed. Luckily, they don't have to print it mostly because it's digital. They can just digitize and send the digits over. But if they had to print that much paper money, they couldn't even do it. The Bureau of Printing and Engraving doesn't even have the capability to produce and print $5 trillion in cash in 12 months like they're going to spend. And that's only the amount that's the amount they added to the budget. They're actually spending roughly $12 trillion over the year, but $4.9 trillion of it is neutralized by the tax revenue that the federal government collects, but they couldn't even print that much. So they have these digital money creation. It's going to destroy the currency eventually, and more until they transition to that central bank currency. So why I'm Silver Dave and not Gold Dave, why we're local silver mint and not local gold mint. I think silver has much more percentage gain potential than gold and more spendability. And so, yes, if you have $1 bazillion, you may want to buy some gold so that it fits, in a room, as opposed to like that much silver is going to be so huge. But I would definitely be stacking silver hard. I'm much more silver centric than gold centric for those reasons, though I love gold. But right now, at a 90-to-1 ratio, I think silver, way better buy. So that should conclude this video. I want to thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate our audience, our customers. If you are in the geographical vicinity of our showroom in Ware, New Hampshire, come on down. We'd love to serve you here. If you aren't and you want to buy something, you can either buy some limited things on our website, but also you can call us on the phone and place an order. If you call us on the phone, then you can do it without a credit card, and then there's no credit card fees. You get a cash discount or bank wire discount. You pay over the phone, make a deal over the phone or via email. So feel free to reach out to us if you want to buy our products. And then lastly, I want to invite you to if you like this video, please like it. If you think your friends should see it, maybe share it with your friends. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, we ask you to please subscribe to the channel. And can we get a guy to ring the bell over there? And can we ring the bell thing, press the little bell thing, ding, yeah, in order to be notified when our videos come out. I know we haven't put out as many videos lately, but we are going to start getting more rigorous. We've just been so busy with our new building and all our stuff. So thank you so much for watching, folks. I'm Silver Dave from local Silver Mint in Ware, New Hampshire, reminding you to stack it up. Yes, stack it up and keep on stacking. All right.
Before we start this video, I just need to say one thing. I hiked 12 miles yesterday, so walking backwards might be a little shaky today.
Oh man, he walked 12 miles. Wow, Mike, that's pretty impressive. with a pack on?
Yep.
Wow, that's why he's so fit. He does all these workouts. Helps to work out. Stay fit, stay strong. In this video, we got a quick technical thing here. He's helping the guy up and he got it. All right, cameraman, he's doing multiple things right now. Man, this guy, he can walk backwards while giving out a document and a key to a guy, and he's filming. He's trying not to laugh right now. Oh, gee, and he just crashed into something. All right, folks, no, this is a serious video. Even though we might have started with a giggle or two,